Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Beyond the Summit series, European Action number 2. We're going to be taking a look at Game 2 of Yellow Submarine facing off against London Conspiracy Dota. I'm Lyrical Dota, joined today by Michael Loris. Mike, we saw some shenanigans in Game 1, I want to say, some Lifestealer Radiance action that was sort of running and doing a ton of damage in the early game, but kind of fell off later, and now a little bit of a different one. The sort of spurned hero from last game, Invoker, is going to be taken by Yellow Submarine.
He wasn't banned, was he?
No.
He just floated right on through. So, yeah, kind of weird to see that in any patch where a hero is first picked in one game and ignored in another. But, hey, sometimes it's just not a game for Invoker. This time for Yellow Submarine, they have Vengeful Spirit, which is, gonna Bat Rider proof their draft just a little bit with an Invoker. So the matchup versus OD is at least one where Yellow Submarine can apply significant pressure through Invoker by himself. Does okay. Vengeful Spirit rotating in, of course, makes that a lot better for the Invoker. So I like how Yellow Submarine already have that mid lane at least somewhat answered. Yes, London Conspiracy do have a Chen who can do the exact same thing. And, of course, London Conspiracy's Chen is not to be messed with. But at least Yellow Submarine are not going to have, that one mid lane hero on an island versus OD. Because that, I said it before, I'll keep saying it until it works out. Pressure Baby Knight and you pressure London Conspiracy as a whole, and these are definitely the two starting heroes to do it. And also, if they don't play together, then Magic Missile and another lane Sunstrike works pretty well.
No, absolutely. It's an incredibly powerful combo, and it gives you a lot of that presence across the map that you wouldn't normally be able to have. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here, though, with the Baby Knight is that, they pressured him in the last game. They shut him down to a large extent early on, and somehow he was still able to come back, find a ton of farm, and just make it happen. It was so much pressure that was applied, and they found a kill on him with the rotation in from the jungling Lifestealer, even able to get off that level 1 open wounds that we were talking about. And, here we go. Enchantress seems to be their next answer. So somewhat surprising. Now, the thing that I'm wondering about this Enchantress, we've seen her played in a couple of different ways, and she's incredibly versatile as a hero. Occasionally that offlane role, but also as sort of an aggro jungle, harkening back to the old school Enchantress, where she obviously does still go for the Dragon Lance and the Aghanim Scepter late game, but early game, a very deadly force. Do you think there's any chance that we see that and possibly have some creeps as the way to pressure?
Yeah, right. I think right now it's pretty much an even split between those two possibilities. I would say if this was an American game, Enchantress offlane, pretty much without a doubt. But right now, if you have Enchantress joined with the Vengeful Spirit with potentially a Sunstrike as backup, you should be able to get pretty easy kills on any given hero, especially if you have something like a Dark Troll with a net or a Centaur to follow up with a Magic Missile. Those kills are going to be very easy to come by for the Yellow Submarine side. Alternatively, if Enchantress does go towards that offlane, London Conspiracy, at least right now, don't really have, any burst damage to actually deal with her. So she's going to be really sticky and really hard to deal with in that lane. So this pick in of itself is seemingly really powerful for the Yellow Submarine side, and they're going to follow that up with a Viper. They have a lot of sustain now with the Enchantress. A little bit of healed there, but Viper for the front line. London Conspiracy, they have Witch Doctor, so the sustain isn't that bad themselves, but it doesn't seem like London Conspiracy really have great damage answers, at least for an Enchantress who's big and untouchable, or a Viper who's big in the corrosive.
Yeah, definitely. And normally the answer would be the Chen being able to pick up a quick mechanism or, get a quick level 6 with Hand of God. But because of that, Enchantress is probably going to be in there messing with them and, possibly even stealing those creeps away. You're going to not be able to get that same level of acceleration that you would expect out of a Chen. I'm wondering, honestly, if Enchantress becomes sort of the answer to Chen in general, even with the more so than a bounty hunter possibly. Because, imagine you're over in the jungle there. You're a Chen, you want to take a creep, and then Enchantress comes and takes it away from you afterwards. That is, whoever basically takes over a creep first is at a pretty significant disadvantage. And with the enchant being on that lower cooldown, I believe it's a lower cooldown at all levels. It might just be... No, it's the same cooldown at level 1.
Yeah, I mean, enchant, you can use it for different things, so there's, I guess, that there, but the difference is that Enchantress, her creeps are expendable. She could throw them into whatever, whereas Chen needs to maintain a creep army. Right. Otherwise, he's pretty bad, honestly. So Enchantress, just by enchanting one creep, may not eventually kill it because Chen may steal it back, but at least will guarantee its death down the line, and there's a lot of value out of that. Broodmother pick, though, for London Conspiracy. I know Baby Knight plays this quite a bit. I've seen Kefka play it as well, but Yellow Submarine don't really have great answers as far as handling a Broodmother swarm, or actually just getting on top of Broodmother and killing her off in general, they're going to need a magic missile to land.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm looking right now, and they have two Broodmother games. They're 2-0 on the hero, at least in 6.86, but don't see who it was that was playing it all that often. It definitely is a hero that can, mess with the jungle again once you end up getting a couple of those levels and poses a real problem. But it does kind of feel now like we're sort of going back and forth. I'm wondering who is going to come out with the more clearly defined strategy, because Yellow Submarine seems to be playing a little bit more reactive, whereas it feels like London Conspiracy has a purpose with this draft, whereas Yellow Submarine's just kind of taking a lot of heroes that deal with what London Conspiracy are throwing at them, but don't have a clearly defined strategy for how they want to try and take down those objectives, take high ground. Outside of they have these pieces. They win a team fight, and then Invoker's there to be able to throw out some Forged Spirits, and Viper's going to be able to right-click the tower. But you're not seeing that sort of unified strategy or objective-taking type of hero in the same way that a Chen is, or even something like a Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, Yellow Submarine kind of do have just a pile of heroes, but man, this is a pretty good pile of heroes to have. Getting a mechanism up on either the Darkseer or the Viper, like getting that type of item up and then just going for a push might just be, a little bit too much for London Conspiracy to deal with, because Yellow Submarine's ability to fight come the 10-15 minute mark is going to be pretty much unparalleled, like compared to really any draft, especially a draft without a gyrocopter, which you're currently seeing right now for London Conspiracy. It's banned out. So Yellow Submarine's ability to push in, take the team fights is really, really going to be difficult to deal with. And in that regard, I feel like London Conspiracy kind of have to get into the kind of split push camp. Of course, it's really hard to actually get that going when it is so early, 10-15 minutes in the game. But yeah, answers to the Darkseer, London Conspiracy is going to need some sort of response there. Slark was the ban out. One of the carries that's probably the most prepared for that. I don't know, maybe like a Sven or something like that, just to try to have some sort of advantage. It's a Nyx Assassin. Is that Kefka's Nyx Assassin, Baby Knight's Broodmother mid, and OD safe lane?
It could be. It's definitely a bit of an odd mix of heroes, and it is looking like that's what it's going to be. So, Kefka Nyx Assassin.
Oh, they swapped.
Okay. Right,
they swapped again.
We'll see where they end up going. That's all mind games right now, trying to mess with the side of London Conspiracy, keep them on their toes. It is going to be an Artez Viper with the Invoker played by Jet. So safe lane and Viper, not something that you always end up seeing, but as soon as we did end up having that pick shown, it seems like that makes a bit more sense. Enchantress, now, oftentimes we see the dual offlane with like a Spirit Breaker or something else in conjunction with Darkseer. What do you think about Enchantress in that offlane? Is it sort of do you think that that's going to work out for them?
Most likely it will work out if Enchantress is, kind of playing that offensive jungling role, and Chen is not actively near the Enchantress, because Darkseer, Ion Shell, it's a great damaging tool. The only problem is keeping up with your targets once Enchantress gets a creep or two. And maybe we'll have an enchant for the slowdown. Like, escaping from that Ion Shell is going to be very, very difficult. So there is a lot of upside there from Yellow Submarine. In fact, Vengeful Spirit joining the fray is also going to make that very solid. Vengeful Spirit and Enchantress can pretty much just dual roam the entire game. Running into Chen, may or may not be a problem. Broodmother, typically difficult to gank, and Nyx Assassin is no cakewalk either, but there's so much power here in any lane that they choose to gank. Like, ganking into a Viper lane is so easy. Same thing as an Invoker or a Darkseer. So Yellow Submarine have the correct heroes to adequately pressure wherever they want to pressure. And again, it should be, for the most part, wherever the OD is.
That seems to be a pretty solid play for them. The other thing that I'm kind of wondering about is if we're going to end up seeing the Darkseer switch off and go to the top lane solo, expecting the Broodmother to go bottom, or top rather. It feels like that's the answer a little bit, and it does look like finally Baby Knight is going to be the one to head out there, so they're going to be able to... What's going on? Is he going to be going mid with this?
Yeah, Baby Knight does do a mid Broodmother. It seems like versus Invoker or Viper, either of those two heroes will not have a great time versus the Brood. Baby Knight's performance should be fine. It always seems like whenever I see this, like, it shouldn't work, but then it does work. So I'm not going to second guess the guy. OD on the safe lane is perfectly fine. Like, he gets quite a bit of farm, and Imprison is actually really good up against the Darkseer. You wait until you see a Surge and then just bubble him, and then Surge is pretty much down the tube. So it seems like it's a pretty decent lane setup for London Conspiracy, assuming their Broodmother is not dying in the mid lane.
Oh, chasing Kefka in the top lane. They weren't quite able to get into range for the Ion Shell, and Darkseer did not want to level up Surge at that point to try and find the kill. He actually had already put points in Ion Shell, so yeah, that's a pretty close one.
Fee is all alone, actually. I don't think an Enchantress wants to be here.
It's a little scary. They don't have a ton of people in there, but they end up skilling Astral. Oh, and Kefka's going to come in for the block. No, he doesn't want to end up getting killed, so diving tier 1s to make sure their Enchantress doesn't go down. There's some shenanigans going on right now, and they need to be careful about which stairway they choose going up. Could be a stairway to their own death. They are going to be able to possibly find them. Not sure if they're going to get enough. Doesn't have a point in Untouchable yet. Artiz is here also, starting to trade hits. They do have enough damage to take her down. I think she does end up scaling up Untouchable, but is still going to die as Chen gets the first kill. Really nicely done there. And Artiz actually doesn't have anything skilled either. He might be in a little bit of trouble. They're going to have another stun in a bit, I believe. He ends up getting the Corrosive Skin. Nice choice there to be able to get the extra movement speed slow. And now the Magic Missile coming in. They do get the secondary Astral Prison, though. I think that this is going to be another one. Oh, man, me oh my. That's going to be another kill. And Witch Doctor picks that one up. Support's getting what they need and right on into jungling with the camps. No time lost for Chen.
Gotta remember that Viper has crap movement speed. It always seems like he's really fast because everyone else is moving so slow, but only level 1 and it's not really going to happen. He's now going to join his buddies back down towards the bottom lane, but yeah, this is already a pretty big win because Fee has grabbed Untouchable, Enchant. So this is going to be Chen with the Centaur guaranteed for however long. And wow, that cast actually even more damage. Fee is taking an absolute beating on this bottom lane. Enchantress as a right clicker is okay right now, but man, this is really not what you want to be doing with an Enchantress.
And the other thing here is, like, Venge has to head over here to try and give Enchantress a little bit more levels because she has to get Enchant. Being a tri-lane, levels are definitely at a premium. But we've talked a lot about this lane. This is probably where we're going to be seeing most of the kills. I don't expect to see a lot, but it's Invoker's safe lane against the Nyx Assassin top. This is a matchup where mana burn definitely makes a lot of difference, but Kef's going to be hurting for using that mana. And this has meant that we've had the Darkseer mid, who's now been able to pick up a bottle. So really interesting lanes across the board. I think that the Darkseer going up against the Broodmother makes a lot of sense, even though it's, again, very strange to see. The extra little added bonus of possibly being able to get rid of the Soul Ring and run just with the other one is going to be solid.
Yeah, it's kind of an awkward lane for sure, but this is probably the best lane they're going to find, at least in this 1v1 basis. It's still possible for Fee and Amba to rotate into that mid lane. The Enchantress actually loaded out with 2 sets of smoke and, of course, a thing of dust, so they're actually going to use it right now. I don't think this was spotted. Baby Knight, though, has a decent Spiderling squad and is going to pop the smoke. Pop the smoke of nothing, actually. Still, I don't think they could kill the spider here.
Oh, they ended up taking him. They are going to be able to spot him out. They have 1 stun. They are going to be able to do this with the help coming in from the Darkseer. They're going to be able to find the kill on Baby Knight. And man, oh man, you mentioned it. The fact that you need to just keep on keeping the pressure towards that hero. I thought they were going to be able to spot him out because they took control of one of the creeps while the spiders were hitting it. But unfortunately, Baby Knight not being able to get out of that one.
He was just like 100 range off of blowing the smoke from the Centaur, and then he would have been just completely safe. Baby Knight's death is unfortunate, but Broodmothers usually die in lane. Usually they're in the off lane, granted, but a death here and there is not the end of the world for a Broodmother, especially a mid lane Broodmother, where access to these side jungle camps are very, very easy to get into. But that's the first gank from this Enchantress and the Vengeful Spirit combo, and so far we've seen nothing too similar from Beaver. Of course, getting the 1-0-1 score is certainly nice for this Chen, but this is Yellow Submarine with the ability to play aggressively, and it seems like that's a start. I would really like to see them make an attempt at Jalapi's life, though.
Yeah, definitely. You want to be able to shut him down in some way, shape, or form, and they are going to be keeping the sustain up. The fact that they've been able to keep the the OD alive in a lane that's this hard, as we do end up seeing the Vengeful Spirit snap away the bounty rune. Nicely done there. Might be in a little bit of trouble as the turnaround. Oh, the magic missile as well as the minus armor is going to be enough to, I think, finish him off. Can he get the deny to neutrals? He's going to be running the other way, and Joe's for the juke. Not going to be able to find it though, as does finally go down.
He's going to lose his Dark Troll as well. Chen right now has no army, and this is the advantage of Enchantress versus Chen. She didn't steal that particular one, but anything that Chen grabs is just going to be room service there for the Enchantress. So yeah, Chen getting in a rough position right now. Yes, he is level 3, but if he's level 3 as well and roaming with a level 3 Vengeful Spirit, that's a lot of pressure that's going to be applied to anyone in their own jungle. At this point, if you're this Chen, you're probably not yet, but you're considering thinking about going into the enemy jungle if you're just interested in getting some farm, because you got to give this space to the Broodmother if you really want to make this mid brood go to its fullest potential. And then, you know, where else is there to farm? Not in your own jungle. That place is just not safe.
Well, and it kind of depends on what they want to do with this game, too. Is like, if they want to try and get a quick mechanism up, get that quick level 6 up to keep the rest of the lanes alive, then definitely they need to go over there. But he's kind of also stuck here because if he leaves completely, then they can kind of dive the OD and Witch Doctor at will. I feel like even though they haven't been getting the best game in the world, it's... Oh, they are going to go now for a kill, possibly on Enchantress. Doesn't get the other bounce. Is going to get him one time. Might go for another right click. Oh, they can't quite kill him. It was very close. Now Artez is here also. Jalopy going for another right click, but so many Nature's Attendants are keeping him alive. Now might be in a little bit of trouble. Are they going to be able to kill off Jalopy? It's looking real bad. They do end up chasing over the creep, so now they have a secondary stun chasing after him. They are going to be able to get it onto Artez. Meanwhile, the cask is continuing to bounce. Are they going to be able to kill off the Vengeful Spirit? No. It's going to be able to walk away from that one, but a nice turnaround there. Chen taking back control of the creeps, and I feel like we're going to have trouble keeping up with who's got what.
Yeah, that time, whether by luck or otherwise, it was the Chen to grab the upper hand, and Jalopy is going to keep himself alive, and that's probably, you know, even more important for London Conspiracy than getting the kill on the Vipers. Make sure that Jalopy just doesn't die. There is still no Sunstrike. It's actually, I'm kind of surprised about that. I'm not sure if it missed or something like that. Maybe just Kefka keeping Jet below the threshold of him being comfortable enough to cast that, but yeah, Invoker is on the island right now, but is still manhandling this lane. So gotta remember that even though, you know, these squabbles are happening over in bottom, near mid, top lane is still Yellow Submarine's lane to lose. And Kefka, he has Vendetta, so he can leave here, but yeah, it doesn't seem like they have an answer to this Invoker. Not yet, London Conspiracy.
Well, on the plus side, as you mentioned, he does have Vendetta. He's been able to get that, and while, you know, the Invoker is definitely winning the lane in terms of farm, as long as Kefka gets those levels and is going to be able to make rotations in later, he's going to be in a pretty good position. But he's really heavily invested in this mana burn, and it looks like it's time for them to go for it. Meanwhile, in the jungle, they're going to be chasing after Biver again on this Chen. He does immediately go for the TP out, but gets canceled by the Dark Troll Summoner, and he is going to end up dying, while they end up getting a return kill on Invoker up in the top lane, and that's what they really needed to have happen. So really good rotation up to the top lane by Jalopy. That's going to let him pick up his 6, and Kef is going to head back home and think about maybe finishing off that urn, which does finally get completed there.
In the ultimate feel bad, that was Chen's Dark Troll that Enchantress stole immediately and then netted. So yeah, I don't know, maybe he was trying to micro it himself and then suddenly lost control of it, because, you know, that's just how it works. But it is still a really good trade. Killing off a free farming any hero, let alone Invoker, is certainly worth it. And now you actually free up the map a little bit for Kefka to roam around. He did not need Vendetta to kill off that Invoker. The cooldown level 1 is, it seems very long whenever you're playing Nick Assassin, and now he can look to roam in on someone. It seems like that someone is going to be Nickrill. Sentry's there, but it's the Radiant Sentry. Vendetta, Mana Burn, no Impale just yet. They have a cast set up first, now the Impale, and the right click. This is a Darkseer though, he's very tanky. I don't think he's tanky enough. Oh, 20 HP, one more right click. Oh, it connects. And the double Ion Shell, it's not going to kill off Solon either.
Man, that healing ward coming in full effect right there. That was very close to being able to take him out. I also really like the play by Kefka there, popping the spiked Carapace while he was nearby the creeps, that way he was going to be able to get the stun off of it. We saw how close that gank was. It was really close to being able to make it happen. And now the pressure on the bottom lane, though. They're finding kills, but they're still getting their towers taken, and really impressive usage of these creeps here to tank up all of the damage, allow the lane creeps to do what they need to do, and Vengeful Spirit, meanwhile, just maxing out that Wave of Terror second behind the stun. You get another mana burn off on Artez, but for the moment, they're going to just keep on sending bodies at these towers.
They very casually took this bottom lane tier 1. Kefka, he's going to get hit with the Viper Strike. And Amba's coming in quick with the Magic Missile. There's no more Spike Carapace here. They just need a couple more right clicks. Kefka down.
Oh.
However, now they're trapped. Which way do you go? Probably not to the right. You gotta go north, right? The Stomp's gonna land onto feed. No one's really doing any damage to this Enchantress. They will work down the Vengeful Spirit. That's one. Tower's gonna do the most damage here, although with a huge army of creeps and spiders and everything else, I don't think he's gonna get out of this. They do take the 2 supports down in exchange for the Nyx Assassin, but Yellow Submarine still take, a pretty clean tier 1 bottom lane tower push and force everyone from London Conspiracy to come down here. So there's some victory in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the plus side, of course, is that Baby Knight can get back to lane super quickly. They also weren't able to get Artez, unfortunately, and Viper's showing he's actually a pretty decent ability to deal with the spiders that you wouldn't expect just because of that corrosive skin. It's not going to take him down super easily. And a lot of very tanky heroes on the side of Yellow Submarine that have been able to weather the storm of initial damage that this brood ends up bringing to you. I wonder if it might be worth it. It feels like it's a really odd pickup, but just to deal with that Enchantress, possibly even thinking about going for something like a Dagon later on that Broodmother. I'm not sure if it's completely and totally worth it, but it does feel like possibly killing her might become a bit of a bigger issue as time goes on.
Oh, Kefka, he ran out of Vendetta, and now he's in between a rock and a hard place. Cold Snap with Ion Shell is really hard to get out from, but he's just going to turn around and stun them all. And with the cask bouncing through, Kefka will stay alive. They're going to try to go for Jet. Wall deploys onto 2 perfectly from Nicoril. Backup coming from behind. It's Amba, and he's going to help clear out the bug, and they'll take down the Witch Doctor. That was an absolute beautiful wall.
Yeah, that was. That's not something that you often end up seeing. Catching 2 with a wall without vacuum used. I mean, it doesn't
like
happen all that often. Pretty good. Well, let's see. It's still a push in the mid lane, but not going to be able to do enough off of it. Also, Midas is a creep, and oh man, this Chen has just been having a really tough time. And it's not necessarily that you can blame him for anything, as we have the initiation on the Vengeful Spirit, almost going to end up going down. Does manage to get the stun off, but not before she does die. And now with Outworld Devourer here, also Artez starting to take a lot of damage, gets off the Viper Strike, and Surge is going to keep him alive for the moment. I don't think that they're going to be able to chase him down. This is the Sacrificial Lamb, though, as Darkseer is going to fall for it. Can they actually chase him down? They do finish off the Viper in the end. Oh, wasn't able to get out of there in time, unfortunately. And now everybody is going down from the side of Yellow Submarine. They've also been able to find Fee, who's going to get chased by Kefka. Do they have enough to burst him? They get the Impale off as well as the Mana Burn. So much damage, and the body blocks abound. Oh my goodness, they're going to be able to do it. Witch Doctor ulti deployed as well, and that's a 340 movement speed hero chasing down a 381 and being able to get the body blocks. Really well played there.
That was OD also delivering hammer blow after hammer blow. The insta-steal was real versus the Darkseer. Didn't burn him out of mana or anything like that, but when you're hitting for plus I think 30 at one point, it's no joke. I mean plus 30 int, not to mention you get the mana pooled into damage there as well. So London Conspiracy taking a pretty successful fight, and now they actually have a chance to kick into a real Broodmother type game where it's Baby Knight on the offlane instead of your usual offlaner. But he's able to push in mid, and Artie's the Viper might just be at the mercy of this Brood and her Spiderling army. Alternative, they're just going to throw in a cast up towards top lane. It's going to bounce between absolutely everyone. So much chains on Amba down. Walls deployed. They have a meteor dropping down. Jalopy, though, is going to walk right through it. With the Hand of God, they'll all stay alive. Backing back into the wall. Nickro's doing a lot of damage here, but not enough damage to actually kill off anybody. He's going to try to surge, but he's actually getting body blocked by Jet. Jalopy is just fine. That was a beautiful cask, and we're not done yet. Oh, they're going to throw another cask towards Jet right now. He has absolutely no mana, and he's going to fall. They're going to throw the Viper Strike over towards the Chen, put into a bubble. He's going to live. Artie's now going to get hit with huge hits. He's 150 damage a pop, plus the orb damage. Nickrow is going to arrive. He has absolutely no mana, because he's dumb as bricks because of Jalopy's insta-steal. Amba's going to arrive, but I don't think this Vengeful Spirit should be here. She may get Chen. She needs one more hit, but she's so slow because of the penitence. She'll die. Oh my god. This guy has plus 90 intelligence. Are you... That's just... Ice Frog, please.
Oh my goodness, it was good. It was really good. Jalopy, what a freaking dude. Just going around consistently stealing all of that intelligence. The team fight that lasted 25 years, and My goodness gracious, a collection of it felt like Yellow Submarine were so close to being able to turn the corner and make the fight go back around, but they couldn't get over that initial initiation that came out and being able to tear through all of their mana. Just a really great execution by London Conspiracy too. The setup for it, dropping down that Sentry Ward immediately to make sure that the Invoker wasn't going to be able to get out either. Just across the board, really well played, and it felt like they knew what was going to be happening the whole time through, just by this great ward vision that they've been able to build.
I do want to give a little bit of credit to the Darkseer of Yellow Submarine, Nickeril's wall, and then subsequent patience after the wall's deployed into the vacuum. That is like how you win one of these team fights, when your control mostly comes from an Invoker with Deafening Blast Meteor. Not exactly anything to write home about, especially before he's a super high level, before the Aghanim Scepter. So the Darkseer played that one, at least the beginning out as best as he could have. But London Conspiracy with the Hand of God, with the stick charges, with the, I guess, only level 1 Voodoo Restoration, but it's a little bit of health here and there. The Spike Carapace from the Nyx Assassin, and now they're going to jump in. Jalape's grabbed the Blink Dagger with drums. This is an aggressive OD build. It's unfortunately not going to be a kill on RTs because Kefka misses the Impale. Now Jalopy is actually in a little bit of trouble. He doesn't have a bubble for himself, but he has backup with that. Cask again, going to bounce through, and now the Death Lord is there as well. Nickeril is going to vacuum, and he will survive for a little while longer, but no, the swap doesn't actually help him on, but now going to get stunned up instead. And the Vengeful Spirit will also fall. 2 kills for LC, with looking at a third Fee. Is going to get put into a bubble of doom. There's no Impale here, but there's just everyone instead. That's good enough. B is going to Shockwave, one more injection, something, Impale, there it is. Kefka's going to grab a double kill, and look at that. They're conveniently right in front of the tier 3s.
My goodness, and the creep wave is going to be there as well. It's all coming together for London Conspiracy. They end up using the glyph to try and save their barracks. They have to buy back on the Darkseer. They need the combo to come out from Invoker right now, but it's still 12 seconds on Invoke before he's going to be able to do anything. So honestly, even if they end up getting a perfect combo of him, they get the wall onto 2, but Nickeril's going to go down. There's no follow-up. They just don't have anything. They rely so heavily on this Invoker to have his AoE damage coming in, and they just aren't going to have it. He's going to go down as well. They drop on down another Meteor, but nothing to keep them in place off the back of it, and Spiders are going to die, but my goodness gracious, Outworld Devourer is just on a rampage, clearly from before and right now. This is ridiculous. GG.
Alright, so in game 1, I did mention how Jalopy played Gyrocopter very well from behind through his rotations and whatnot. This is a roaming, like a super aggressive roaming OD. Like, it wasn't actually like a level 1 roam or anything like that, but he went drums into Blink Dagger? That's not actually an OD build. But hey, man, it works, and it works out really well. It's almost as if this game, like, Baby Knight? What Baby Knight? There was no Baby Knight needed.
My goodness, what a freaking game though. 16-minute GG, and at moments it felt like Yellow Submarine were ahead. This was honestly such a freaking great game of Dota to see the sort of evolution of the meta a little bit. You've got the Chen who gets countered by the Enchantress, then they end up getting sort of the return with the Witch Doctor being able to sort of play the last little bit of the upper hand and keep that lane safe so OD could come back into it. Really impressive stuff, and I mean, what more can you say right now? Jalopy, I felt like, has been sort of the unsung hero of this game, just doing the stuff that needs to get done, and he's rewarded for the end by a really good rampage there, and oh man, I feel like I need a break. Goodness.
I think Yellow Submarine need a break as well. Like, that was just 16 minutes. It didn't seem like it was really going to end up in this way. It was that top lane fight, like good cask bounces from Solon. Obviously, that's all planned as a Witch Doctor. Like, just that amount of stun duration, whereas ordinarily London Conspiracy don't have that much in the way of stuns, like, gave them such a huge edge and rode that train to victory. Like, Baby Knight was split pushing the entire time.
Yeah, totally. Well, all right, we're going to be going, actually, that was the last series of the day for European. We're going to have North American action later on today, but thank you all so much for watching us here. I'm going to post on up the brackets real quickly so that way you can all see. London Conspiracy were the team to move on. I have not updated it yet, but Cookies are going to be the person that they face off against in the next round, as they were able to beat out TPP in the last set. As far as North American action goes, I believe we're getting to the later stages of it, so should be a couple of good games that come up. Thank you all again for watching. Absolute pleasure, and follow us on Twitter at Lyrical Dota, at Michael Loris. Any final words before we head out?
This was a pretty brutal game for London Conspiracy, so yeah, congratulations to them, and I hope Yellow Submarine actually, find out something that works for them because, way back when they used to be one of the most entertaining teams to watch, and now it just seems like they need a little bit of time to get back into it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys again, and we'll see you guys later. That's it for us for now, and tune in a couple of hours for some more BTS America's Season 3. See you guys in a few.
Later, guys.